it doesn't matter. Something small can really spoil your mood, so you self-medicate, swapping feelings for food. It might seem dumb, but if you're telling the truth, it's probably something dating back to your youth. But it's really not that deep. You probably just need some sleep. There's someone else you're meant to be. You just need a little self-belief. So shut up and buck up. Can't keep up, that's bad luck. Something make you wanna run, kick, scream and shout. Lay it all out, throw the cobwebs away. Make a big scene, be a drama queen. As if you've seen what the neighbors might say. Hold your head up high, let me see you cry. You got nothing to hide, oh baby. 'Cause it doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter, you wish it didn't matter. It shouldn't really matter, 'cause no one thinks it matters. It doesn't really matter, it shouldn't really matter, 'cause all that really matters is what we decide matters. So what do you think matters? 'Cause all that really matters is what we agree matters. And don't that make you wanna run, kick, scream and shout. Lay it all out, throw the covers away. Make a big scene, be a drama queen. As if you've seen what the neighbors might say. Hold your head up high, let me see you cry. You got nothing to hide, oh baby. 'Cause it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters. All that really matters is what we decide matters. Stop, fall apart with pain. With your hands in your pockets and your eyes on your feet. Having conversations with the mirror, trying to make my point a little bit clearer. But talking sure ain't no mean feat. 'Cause I got issues. I know that I shouldn't fall apart over every little chat, but I got issues. You know that I fall apart, so let's leave it at that. I just take baby steps, darling, baby steps, darling, baby steps. Just one foot in front of the other, one word after another. Baby steps, darling, baby steps. Just take baby steps, darling, baby steps. Maybe one day get it together, but today let's take another baby step. Boo. Bear with. Okay, music is off in headphones. I can concentrate now. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I don't see any names in the chat yet, but I'm sure that slowly people will appear. Apologies for the slight delay in starting there. I was on time. I came up here at a reasonable hour, and then I ran around the room like a headless chicken looking for things that I then suddenly realised were in my gig bag, and that's why they weren't in the room, because they were still in my gig bag. And I did, rather than do the sensible thing of go down and look through the gig bag and pick out everything I needed, I just went down and went, right, I need the microphone. Right, I need this. Right, I need that. And I did several laps of our stairs for no reason other than because I'm an idiot. So that's why we started a little bit later than intended. But I am here now. Not as sweaty as I expected to be, given that. But hey, I'll only get sweatier as the evening goes on. It's a good thing we're not doing that much playing and singing tonight. We're just doing the one song, really. 'Cause I probably wouldn't cope, 'cause it is frickin' warm in this room right now. Anyway, hello, John. We are here
I lied to you guys last week, and I told you that this stream was going to be a songwriting stream. And then I remembered as soon as I'd said I'd finished the stream and switched everything off, I was like, I told everybody it was going to be a songwriting stream, and it's not. It's going to be the behind the song stream for How to Be Happy, obviously, because, you know, How to Be Happy came out last Friday. On Friday. Friday. It came out on Friday. God, that feels longer ago than it actually was. It feels like it's been a week already, but it hasn't. It's only been a few days since that song came out. I think this is starting to become... I'm getting used to releasing songs now. It's like, another one's up, guys. Off you go stream it. Anyway. But yeah, we released a new song. So we need to go through it, obviously, and talk about the inspiration behind it. There perhaps is not that much to say about this one in terms of the lyrical content. I feel like the lyrics are pretty, you know, there's nothing particularly, what's the word I'm looking for? Poetic or mysterious about them. They are what they say for the most part. But we're going to go through it line by line that we did anyway and just talk about some of the things I was thinking and feeling while I wrote the song and why I decided to write it the way I did. But we'll probably talk a bit more about this one in terms of the musical side of it, because a lot more thought went into the musical side and the melodies I picked and how I then decided I was going to go and produce it. But yeah, at midnight it did. It came out at midnight on Friday. I like that we've got weird little in-jokes now based on my weird ramblings. Anyway, let's start, obviously, with playing through the whole song, because you can't talk about a song that you don't play through. So we shall start the stream with another of those live renditions of How to Be Happy. It goes a little something like this. That guitar is way too loud, apologies. I think that's probably better, okay. I'm tired of waking up tired. Just turn that reverb up, there we go. Tired of waking up tired and crying late at night. These days I feel so uninspired. I can't get anything right. Feels like I'm black and blue, beaten up without a single bruise. Feels like I've forgotten how to be happy. I've got a smile on my face, but it just feels out of place. Oh, won't somebody please just remind me, 'cause I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm not happy, and I'm not me. Can't keep my eyes open all day, but come nighttime I don't sleep. Feels like I'm wasting away, no matter how much I eat or drink. Feels like I'm overboard. Someone's gone and cut the cord. Feels like I've forgotten how to be happy. I've got a smile on my face, but it just feels out of place. Oh, won't somebody please just remind me, 'cause I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm not happy, and I'm not me. Feels like I'm flowing, sinking, falling. All the feelings, they just start to feel the same. Same feeling, different name. Sad, angry, happy, scared, they just fade into now. Feels like I've forgotten how to be happy. I've lost a smile on my face, but it just feels out of place. I want somebody, please just remind me, 'cause I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm all over the place. Oh, I've forgotten how to be happy. I've lost a smile on my face, but it just feels out of place. I want somebody, please just remind me, 'cause I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm not happy, and I'm not me. Do 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 do. Hey, that's the song. That is How to Be Happy. This is a great song. Oh, thank you, John. I can relate to it. Oh no, that's not good. Sad that people relate to this song. But I'm sure that there are quite a few people who probably can relate to it. It's you know, it's a feeling I'm sure a lot of people have felt at some point in their lives. So, yeah, that is How to Be Happy. And obviously, I think you can probably tell what I wrote it about from it's literally about, you know, that line in the chorus, I've forgotten how to be happy, really does sum up what the song is really about. It's just about that feeling of, you know, you're doing all the things that used to make you happy, but they don't anymore. You're generally feeling pretty, not even just sad a lot of the time. A lot of the time, it just feels like nothing, you know? That's almost worse sometimes, because at least the sad, you know, the sad is something, and usually it's provoked by something, and you can point to something and say that's what caused that emotion. But when it's just a case of you should be happy, that you're doing things that should make you happy, and you're still just sort of feeling nothing from it, that is that's a scarier emotion, I think, in some ways, because you just don't know what to do with that. What do you do when you're doing all the stuff that's supposed to make you happy, and it's not working? And I think it is easy to get into, you know, when you're feeling that low for so long, it's easy to get sort of trapped there for a while. Which is part of why, as I've said over and over again, I wanted this song to sound really happy, even though it's literally about, you know, going months on end, not ever feeling genuinely happy and feeling like you can't even describe what happiness feels like anymore. I wanted it to sound really happy for a couple of reasons. One we'll go into later on in the stream, but one of the big reasons was because it's about that, because it's about being so low. It's about that feeling that you just get stuck in, where you haven't felt happy for months. And the last thing really I think actually helps when you're stuck in that kind of constant low mood is stuff that just encourages you to keep feeling low, stuff that just encourages you to keep going into the negative emotions, because at least you're feeling something when you're feeling those negative emotions, you know. I love a good old cry along to it, gets you all in your feelings song. I love songs that you can feel the pain in them, but I think that a lot of the time what you really need when you're feeling at your lowest is something that isn't just in your face happy because it's about something happy, but something that can help just get you moving, whilst also being like, yeah, life is crap, but, you know, move. And that's what a lot of this album in general I wanted it to be like, was less of a completely wallow in it thing, but more of a, yeah, you know, life sucks a lot of the time, but, you know, move. Get up, move. What else are you gonna do? You succeeded. It does sound happy. Well, thank you, John. It does sound very, very happy, especially the fully produced version, doesn't it? It is. I told James when we were producing it in the studio, is I want this to feel like you've been punched in the face by happiness, and that's the overall vibe we were going for. It's not a song that's meant to make you feel happy. It's a song that's meant to smack you in the face with happiness, right? Like, there you go, you miserable git. Anyway, so that was part of the Do You Like the Smiths? I don't actually know that many Smiths songs, I don't think, John. They smack you in the face with happiness, kind of. So I thought they're quite. I feel like what I've heard about the Smiths is that they're quite a sad, depressing band. But anywho, so let's go through the lyrics quickly, because there isn't much to say about them, but it's worth just going through them, just to look at the few bits where there maybe is something to say. So the song obviously starts off with the line, I'm tired of waking up tired and crying late at night. That one's pretty obvious in it. It's quite obvious that that one is about the combo of insomnia and generally, you know, the low lack of energy feeling that you get. Like, even if you've had 10 hours sleep, you didn't get good sleep, you know? So you're still tired, and it feels like all you want to do is sleep all day, and you spend most of your day basically doing nothing, but you're tired anyway. And that's one of the like hallmarks of depression is just you spend all your day not really being that busy, not really having any reason to be tired, and yet you are still exhausted. That, or it could be a medical issue. You should always consult your doctor, guys. They are, but I love them. And then we go into these days I feel so uninspired. I can't get anything right. That's probably one of my Hi Andy. We're just getting started. We're going through the songs, so you're just in time for that. But that's another feeling, obviously, that I think a lot of people you guys know what what's the word I'm looking for? What an episode like this feels like. What a low patch mentally can often feel like, and the general, you know, the tiredness, the low mood. But a big one for me is that it's why I hate things like the tortured artist trope. Like, I hate this idea that pain is what creates the best music, because the truth is that when you are genuinely feeling that low, that depressed, that in pain, you don't make art. Sad people don't make good art. Sad people make angsty art. Sad people might try and make art and just make something that's just it's just anger on a page. You know, some of my worst songs I've ever written, I wrote when I was the most depressed, because they are just me screaming into the void. And someone screaming into the void is not art. I'm sorry, it's not. And because you can't write good stuff when you're that low, because when you're feeling that just energyless, there's nothing that really inspires you, even though you might write good songs from those feelings you were feeling at the time. Like, this song obviously came out of feeling like that, and I think overall it's a good song. It's not bad. It's all right. It's not my finest work of art, I don't think, but it is a good song. But you know, it didn't come out of that period. Like, I didn't write this while I was at my lowest. I wrote this about being at my lowest. But I wrote it in one of those patches where I was feeling better, when I was feeling more inspired, when I could do things, when I did have some happiness in my life. Because I don't think you can really write or do anything that produces anything remotely good when you're feeling like crap all the time, because just surviving is too hard. Hiya, Daniel! Yeah, so anyway, so that's I've ranted about how I don't like the tortured artist trope for a variety of reasons before, and that's one of my big ones. Is just that it's not accurate. Because the truth is that people who are in pain all the time and who are feeling and who are struggling with their mental health, as a general rule of thumb, don't create art at all, let alone good art. Like, the first thing that goes when I am at my worst is I stop writing and I stop painting, I stop sewing. You know, I stop creating things. When I am in, you know, one of my wobble periods, as I like to call them, I just stop doing everything creative. So this is one of 2 songs that I wrote for the entire year. An entire year I was out in France on my year abroad when I was having one of my big wobbles. And in that entire year I wrote 2 songs. For context, last year in October, I wrote 36 songs in 1 month. I mean, 36 snippets of songs in 1 month. But, you know, I usually write quite a bit. I usually spend a lot of my time writing. But when I was at my worst, I wrote this song and I wrote Stage Lights. And they're 2 good songs. I think they're 2 pretty good songs. I mean, I did write a couple of other bits and bobs here and there, but those were all rubbish and they went in the bin. And you'll never get to see them because they were just bad. But, you know, Leonard Cohen wrote a lot of depressing songs many years ago. Yes, he did. He did write a lot of very depressing songs, did Leonard Cohen. But yeah, so I just don't think it's true. I think so. It is one of the warning signs really for me that things are getting bad is if I've just stopped doing all of the creative things. Because why have I stopped doing them? Because I have no energy for them. I have no energy to do the things I love, and I'm getting no joy out of them. Where were you when you were abroad? I was in Grenoble in the south of France. Pretty place, but it was not easy to live alone there, and especially wasn't easy to. It was bad timing for the year abroad overall. It could not have been worse timing really. But hey, they happened. It's over now. We moved past it. We've had a few big wobbles since, but overall, nothing has ever been as bad as it was back then so far. So, I haven't had another year where I've only written 2 songs. So things must be better. Anyway, so that line for me is one of the summing ups of like what it really feels like when what I'm talking about in that I've forgotten how to be happy feeling is that's one of the key parts of happiness for me. I think is when I'm creating. I'm happiest when I'm creating. So if I'm not creating, it's usually because I'm not happy. And then obviously I can't get anything right either, because even if I try and create something, I don't do a good job of it, and that just makes you feel worse. Oops. Didn't happen, no one saw it, except it's on camera. And then we go into feels like I'm black and blue, beaten up without a single bruise. That's my favourite, that bit in both the verses, that bit here, the single bruise, and then it's cut the chord in the next bit. That's my favourite bits of the verses. Not because of the lyrics or anything like that. The lyrics aren't bad, I do like an ooh sound, what can I say? So it's very satisfying having that blue and bruise bit there. But mainly just because when I wrote it, I liked the melody and I knew that I was going to put harmonies there, and I knew that those harmonies were going to sound nice. So I just got excited about the fact that harmonies go in there. Okay. I feel like the chorus lyrics are pretty self-explanatory. So the chorus, obviously. Feels like I've forgotten how I'll be happy. I force a smile on my face, but it just feels out of place. Oh, won't somebody please just remind me? 'Cause I'm all over the place, yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm not happy, and I'm not me. There is no hidden meaning there, really, is there? It's pretty obvious. I've forgotten how to be happy. I force a smile on my face, that classic thing. I do find it quite hilarious though that because I did feel a lot like when I was, I feel it all the time anyway. I feel like I have to force expressions for people all the time, partially because I am not actually somebody who tends to have quite an expressive face all the time naturally. Like sometimes I'll be talking to people and they'll think I'm angry at them simply because I've got a neutral look on my face. I find that people quite often think I'm confused a lot, just because my face just apparently must make this confused look when I'm processing information in general. So if you talk to me too fast, sometimes it takes me a little while to fully register everything you've said and turn it into information that isn't just words, that because words are nothing. Turn it into the understanding bit of information in my brain. It takes a little while, and I must just sit there with a blank expression on that makes people think that I'm confused when that's happening, because they'll start explaining a lot. And the worst part is because, then I'm processing even more words. I'm still sitting there with this blank look on my face, and it takes me a while to register. It's they're explaining because they think I'm confused. I need to tell them I'm not confused, and then I can tell them I'm not confused. And by that point, it's been going on for a minute longer than it needed to. But yeah, I feel like I have to force quite a lot of facial expressions generally in day-to-day life, because I guess I just don't look friendly and happy, and I don't know, maybe I've got RBF. I don't think I've got RBF. I don't think I look moody but maybe I do. And I find people constantly think I'm upset with them, or angry or they think I'm sad. Like I've had people genuinely be convinced that I was not okay, to the point where they asked me if I was okay like 4 times, and by that point I'm no longer okay, because now I'm annoyed because I've been asked the same question 4 times, and I find that happens with me quite a lot. So I quite often feel like in conversations with people, and just generally when I'm hanging out with lots of people around, I have to put effort into looking happy, because if I don't, people are going to think that I'm really, really sad. And I always find it quite funny, the fact that, sitting there with a smile plastered on your face and this sort of constant, bubbly, energetic version of happy is what we associate most with being happy. When we think of the word happy, people tend to think of that bubbly, joyous feeling, that giggly feeling. So people who are grinning, who are smiling a lot and laughing a lot, it's that stereotype and that trope that people like to talk about quite a bit. It's like, just because depression can look like somebody who's smiling and laughing all the time anyway. You never know what's going on in someone's mind. But it's not just a case of you never know. They might be forcing that smile. They might not be forcing that smile, because genuine happiness isn't about moments of joy either. Moments of joy are just one part of what happiness is. Someone might be genuinely sitting there enjoying the time they're spending with you, very happy, that smile, that laugh, it's all genuine, but then they go home and that feeling is gone. So it's kind of, I think it's quite funny the way that we really obsess over this idea of smiling happiness, joyous kind of happiness, because really a lot of what happiness is just peacefulness as well. Being content, being comfortable, not having things to worry about. Sometimes it's not even just about happiness, it's just about not being stressed, not having a negative emotion. That joyous feeling is just one part of it. But it's the one I think we think of the most when we think of the word happiness. But I think that a lot of people, we do struggle to really define happiness because of that. What happiness actually looks like to you. And I think it's a thing that a lot of us spend a lot of time thinking about. It's a lot of thing that I spend a lot of time thinking about, is what is actually me happy, and how do I achieve that? And a lot of the time, I think a lot of us spend a huge amount of time performing an idea of happiness more than we do actually just feeling genuinely happy and just enjoying the moment. Anyway, got a bit too deep and meaningful there for a song that is as joyous and pop as this. But yeah, so the rest of the lyrics in the chorus, it's all pretty self-explanatory. Oh, and somebody please just remind me, because I'm all over the place. That's probably a bit two meanings, I suppose, that line, because I'm all over the place in terms of my emotions are all over the place. I really don't know what I'm feeling, but also I'm all over the place in terms of I've made a mess of my life. I don't know what I'm doing. Could somebody help me out here? And I've forgotten how to be happy. I'm not happy, and I'm not me. Pretty self-explanatory. Doesn't really need any expanding on that. Then we go into the second verse, where we're back to talking about insomnia. Can't keep my eyes open all day, but come nighttime I don't sleep awake. We already talked about that, And then it goes into, feels like I'm wasting away, no matter how much I eat or drink. We're talking about food again. like we were and it doesn't matter. Again, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of just referencing a lot of the things that, that do, not just that make you happy, because food and drink and sleep and all these things are key to happiness, but they're also just key to surviving as well. But I quite liked that line. The feels like I'm wasting away no matter how much I eat or drink, because it's not just about literally physically eating and drinking, and but also about, you know, just that the way that it feels, that even if you are still looking after yourself and doing all the things you're meant to, it's just not filling you up. It's not making you feel looked after like it's supposed to. Even if you do all the right things, you know, you go through the motions of, you get in the shower, you brush your teeth, you eat and drink enough throughout the day, you go to bed at the right time, you get your 8 hours sleep, but you're still exhausted and you still just feel hungry for something other than food, and all you want to do is snack all the time, and no matter how many fun videos you watch, you still don't feel that happiness. You know, it just feels like nothing is really filling you up. No matter what you put in, it's just not working. Anyway, and then we got that. Feels like I'm overboard. Someone's gone and cut the cord. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Just a drowning reference there. No, but just a you know, that classic imagery for feeling like you're being snowed under by your emotions. There's another little metaphor for it. But you know, that classic imagery of being set adrift, you know, with no life. No life. What are they called? Lifeline. God. Words just failed me then. No lifeline. No way to pull yourself back in. What was I going to say about this bit? Oh yeah, that bit wound up being a little bit of a problem in the studio though, because I completely spaced on the fact that the first time I do that little melody with the feels like I'm black and blue, beaten up without a single bruise, goes like that. But with that, when I do the chord, it's feels like I'm overboard. Someone's gone and cut the cord, and I go up like that. So the melody is slightly different, but similar enough. That I just sort of I was doing exactly the same thing with the harmonies over the top of them, and being like, why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? Because I completely hadn't registered that it was a different melody, and I don't know why, because it's very obviously different. But my brain just kept being like, it should work because it's the same. It's not working because it's not the same. And that's why that harmony isn't working, because the melody you're singing underneath is not the same. And it took Imogen playing it out on the piano for me to go, oh yeah, that's a different melody, innit? That's why it's not working. It's the wrong note. Anyway, just a little fun fact from the studio there. Okay. Then obviously we had the chorus again, and then we're into the bridge. And the bridge overall, I think, is my favourite section of the song. Like, the verses, the choruses, they're nice and all, but I really like this bridge. And it goes, feels like I'm flowing, sinking, falling, all the feelings, they just start to feel the same feeling, different name. Sad, angry, happy, scared, they just fade into no. And then obviously it breaks down, you get that build up again of not to be happy, I force a smile on my face, where it just feels like praise. Oh, somebody please just remind me. It lets me go into those last two choruses and play around and change the melodies up a little bit. And I really like that bridge section, both because I like the feels like I'm floating, sinking, falling, all the feelings, they just start to feel the same feeling, different name. Sad, angry, happy, scared, they just fade into numb. You know, I like that's summing up what I'm talking about throughout the whole song, really, is the fact that, you know, it's not just I've forgotten how to be happy, it's that my emotions in general are all over the place. I don't know what they are. I don't know what to name which ones. And, you know, again, like I was rambling on about earlier, what different emotions you're actually feeling is not necessarily that easy to label all the time. I feel like a lot of us actually don't necessarily know what specific emotion, other than the obviousness of this is sad, this is amused, this is scared. Those are relatively easy-ish ones to name. But when we like really get down to, you know, the different types of happiness, when you're feeling peaceful, when you're feeling content, versus when you're feeling joyful, when you're feeling excited, when you're feeling amused, when you're feeling loved. You know, those are all different types of happy, really. And similarly, like, there are different types of sad. There's, oh, I'm in pain, sad, and there's, I'm kind of disappointed, sad, and there's, I'm missing this, but not because I know I need to have it back, but just because it's something that was nice and it's not here anymore, and that's sad, but it's not sad, you know? There are lots of different ways of feeling. And we've got a lot of different ways of labeling those feelings as well, because the English language is full of words for different emotions. And, you know, we're not always necessarily that in touch with our emotions and know exactly what we're feeling. And it can be easy to let them, when you aren't really thinking about what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, it can be easy to convince yourself it's something else or just get completely lost in it. Like, you know, one of the biggest things that was a struggle for me when I was at my lowest was identifying actually what I was feeling and why I was feeling it. You know, why was I anxious all the time? Was it because of all these different things that I kept labeling as that's why I'm anxious all the time? Or was it because of something else going on? You know, like the fact that I felt like I'd made too many wrong choices in terms of what I decided to do education-wise and where it was leading me career-wise, and I was starting to feel quite trapped by that. And it took me a while to really realise that that was the big underlying issue, and that if I didn't deal with that, this overall anxiety was never really going to go away, because the anxiety was coming from somewhere. It wasn't coming from nowhere. Sometimes if you overanalyze your emotions, it can get a bit, you know, ridiculous and just makes more harm than good. But sometimes, you know, the issue is that you actually have to sit down with yourself and be like, right, why am I tired all the time at the moment? Is there a physical reason for it? Like, am I actually not getting enough sleep? Am I not eating enough? Am I not drinking enough water? Because not drinking enough water can make you feel tired. Because as me and my friends were discussing the other day, we are plants. We need water. And sometimes it's something as simple as that. It's a physical need that you're not fulfilling, and that's why you're feeling tired all the time. Other times, it can be a mental need you're not fulfilling. You might feel tired all the time, but that's actually a symptom of loneliness. You know, you feel tired all the time because you're bored all the time, because really you just need to go out and socialize with people. You might feel tired all the time because you're actually stressing a lot. And so even though you're getting enough sleep and you're eating enough and you're putting energy in, you're actually expending more energy because you're stressing about stuff. And you need to think about what it is you're stressing and if there's any way that you can reduce that stress. And sometimes you're not going to be able to make those things go away, because sometimes, you know, it's all outside sources that are causing this stuff. And other times, you know, you'll be able to make a change to your life that means you can get rid of that underlying feeling. For me, a big part of why I was so why I was struggling so much at one point was because I had made the wrong decision in terms of what I was pursuing, and making the decision to have a go at pursuing something else meant that I shifted all that stress and anxiety onto onto a completely different issue. No, but you know, I had to let go of that feeling like I needed to keep going down one path, or that I was actually trapped, and realize that I wasn't really that trapped, that I did have options. Anyway, again, off on a ramble. But that's part of why I like that section. But I also just like that bridge section, not just because of what it's talking about there, but because I like the way that the melody goes. I like that. Feels like you're floating, sinking, falling, all the feelings, they just start to feel the same. It's very, you get a drum beat called 4 on the floor, which is where you get on every single beat in a bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get a bass drum, because the bass drum is on the floor. So we call it 4 on the floor. And that the lyrics there are kind of doing that. It feels like you're floating, sinking, falling, all the feelings, they just start to feel the same. Same feeling, different name. Until you get to name. Sad, angry, happy, scared, they just fade into numb. So you get that duh, 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 duh kind of feeling to the melody, that drives it along, but also allows it to then calm down, which is what then gives it the opportunity to have that build up into the chorus. And I just really like that about that section. And I hope that it will lend itself well to TikTok, that section, because of it, because stuff that hits on the beats like that, people like to use for transitions. So hopefully it'll work. That section will work well on there. I need to actually make some transitions to it to show people it could work well. Anyway, but yeah, that's part of why I like that bridge part so much, was because of that. And then obviously we have the build up into the chorus, where I just go a little bit crazy with changing the melody up. And that is the song. Yeah, so like I said, there isn't that much to analyze really about the lyrics. It was more about the melodies. Most of my favourite bits in the song are not because of specific lyrics I came up with. I don't think there's anything that amazing about the lyrics in this song at all. There are no lyrics in this song that I look at and go, oh yeah, I love that lyric, I'm so proud of that lyric. Like, nah, they're alright, but they're very matter of fact. They just say what they mean. There's no deeper meaning to them. It's entirely in the arrangement, the production, and the melodies. And actually, an interesting thing that you guys may well have noticed. I don't know if anybody has noticed it. When every time I've played this, I've only played it for you guys twice so far. But whenever I play this song live, and whenever I will play this song live in future, you might notice that the song is much slower when I play it live than it is on the record. And I've made that conscious decision. You know, I started off the first couple of times I was practicing it through, I thought I would make it as fast as it was on the track when I played it live as well. But I decided not to. And it did actually start off live. It was more like... That's how it started off live. At that sort of speed. So it's going... Oh, I've forgotten how I'll be happy. I force a smile on my face, but it just feels out of place. Oh, won't somebody please just remind me? Because I was going to make it, you know, I wrote it as kind of more like a country song than a pop track like it turned into. And it was when I decided that I wanted this to be a really big pop rock track with loads of energy to it. I realised that, you know, as I was putting the production together, I ended up going back and re-recording all of the guitar and the vocals because I realised that it needed to go at like not quite twice the speed it was, but not far off it. It ended up a lot faster. Now on the record it's like do 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 time crying late at night. Because I was having a go at recording the acoustic version on Monday? Yes, on Monday I was recording the acoustic version and I was doing the guitar for that, and at first I thought, you know, I was just going to do it. I just looked up the tempo that I'd done it at for the track and started recording it like that, and I was like, no, this is not going to work for the acoustic version either. The acoustic version needs to be slower because it's at 158 BPM, the track itself. And I didn't realise just how fast I'd actually made it until I tried to play it again. It's like, God, this is a lot faster than I play it live, innit? Yeah, so it is a lot faster on the track because I wanted it to have that energy. But I don't think it needs it as much when I play it live, and I think it sounds better when I play it just acoustically like this, when it's just a tad slower. Not quite as slow as it was when I wrote it, but, you know, more that I'm tired of waking up tired, crying late at night. Because I think something about an acoustic guitar on its own, like that, that's a happy sounding rhythm on acoustic guitar. But when I was putting all the synths and stuff on and working out guitar parts and working out bass parts, it needed more drive and energy in it for that pop version of it. But it doesn't need that when I play it live on the acoustic guitar, and it actually sounds better and overall happier when it's more of a chilled kind of happy, because it sounds very energetic happy in the fully produced version, but the acoustic version I think sounds better when it's more of a chilled, yeah, we're happy, yeah. And it still gives you that kind of joyful, happy feeling, but it's not quite smacking you in the face with happiness as it is in the fully produced version. But yeah, anyway, there's a fun fact for you about the song. Yeah. I'm just having a look at what else I wrote here to say. Oh yeah, the only other thing I wanted to tell you guys about this track is I think I might have briefly mentioned this before, but the other reason I made it a in your face punch you with happiness song, because one reason was just that I thought it was going to suit the song overall, and I didn't want it to sound like a song that you were wallowing in. You know, I wanted it to have that happy vibe because it's about not being happy, and I didn't want it to turn into a depressing wallowing type song. But the other reason was quite simply because I was looking at doing this album. I wanted to make an album around baby steps. I had a few different songs, all written about the same sorts of themes of recovery and mental health struggles and what is happiness, what does it mean to be happy. I've got a lot of songs where I think about this stuff a lot, so I've written a lot of songs like that, and I wanted those to be the themes of the album. So I was picking out songs that I already had and working out what I needed to write to make the album work overall and tell the story I wanted it to. And this was one of the songs when I looked at it, I thought that works perfectly for this album, because that's what this album is about. And I realised it was going to be quite an early track on the album. It is going to be the second track on the album. There's a little bit of info for you. This will be the second track when the album comes out. And that was the other reason why I then decided that I wanted it to sound as happy as it does, because I knew I wanted it to be quite a smack in the face of happiness, but I decided it really needed to hit you hard with pure, energetic, joy, pop sound, because it's going to be the second track on the album. And the first track is going to be much chiller, and then this one, and then we get into a lot of quite angsty sounding songs, some more ballad songs, some more dramatic sounding songs, some quite sad songs, you know, some songs that are going to be quite wallow in it and angsty. So I wanted to start it off with just chill, 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 smack in the face of happiness. Okay, now we're going to just really, really think about what it actually means to be happy. And so that was the other reason why I made this song as upbeat and energetic and pop as it is, was because of where it's going to go on the album. So yeah, you'll get to experience this song in a whole other way, I think. Not to be like pretentious or anything, but I do think that this song is gonna it's gonna have a whole other vibe to it, and a different impact for you guys when you hear it in the context of the album as well. Because I think that all the songs I've picked to be singles, I like them as songs themselves. I think they stand well as singles, but they are also singles that were designed to go on this album. And I've very much designed this album to be an album. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear It Doesn't Matter, How to Be Happy, and Baby Steps, and the next two singles that are yet to come. I'm really excited for you guys not just to hear them as singles, but to then hear them as they are on the album in the context with the other songs, because they do take on another role there, and it does add to them, I think. What I feel so good about a lot of my favourite albums is down to the track ordering. Yeah. It's a really hard bit to get right as well. Like, I've changed the order of these tracks so many times, and the thing was that as I was changing the order of the tracks, I was thinking about how, like, because I've changed this track to going here now in the album instead, the vibe of it also kind of needs to be different, because, you know, it's not just about where you put the track on the album, it's about right now, because that track is there on the album, really you want it to be doing something else as well, because you want to get that nice balance of, you don't want just energy, and then just chill out end of album. Like, some albums are built like that, they're front heavy with energy, and then they're really chilled out at the end. Or sometimes they go the other way around. They're really chilled out at the start, and then they're back heavy with energy. And really, you want to get some peaks and some chills out in the middle. Like, you don't want all your slow tracks to be at the end. You want a couple of slow tracks really in the middle, and then you want to bring the mood back up. And you also, you want tracks to interact with each other to tell that story. And I love albums that do that too. It's part of why I've rambled on before about two albums that I love that came out in recent years. One was Perfectionist by Will J, and one was Rainbow Boy, I want to say. I think it's called Rainbow Boy by Keenan Lonsdale. Yeah, Rainbow Boy by Keenan Lonsdale. They're both, I think, fabulous albums because the tracks are telling, especially Perfectionist in particular, is specifically telling that story of getting over being a perfectionist. That's why I don't like Random Play. Yeah. Random Play only works for songs that aren't really designed to be, or that stand alone like that by themselves. Yeah, Hunky Dory is another one, but there for a different reason though, because Hunky Dory doesn't necessarily, those tracks didn't need to be in that order in order to tell a story, but because they're in that order, it just fits because it's less a story, I suppose. Hunky Dory is less of a story type album. Less the tracks are in that order to tell a story, and more the tracks are in that order because then it creates a nice vibe. It hits all the vibes that you want, and that's more of the experience type one. And I like it when albums are like that too. I would say that a lot of Bruno Mars's albums, the two Bruno Mars albums that we have, they're similar in style to the Hunky Dory one in the tracks, they're in the order they are, partially because they create the moods they do at the right times. So they don't tell a story, but they give you the right vibe at the right moment to create an experience. And I think that's what you want from an album. You either want an album where it's been created to put across a specific story or message, whether it's a concept album that's got an underlying story to it, or if it's Ziggy Stardust is definitely a story. Yeah, I remember you. I'm sure I've listened to that one through from the start before, and you either want them to be that story album, or you want them to be a concept album where they're not necessarily telling a story, but they're sort of getting across a certain message, and the tracks are in an order to get that message across. Or you want them to just create a vibe and a mood and an experience based on, okay, this is where we're getting angry, this is where we're getting dancey, this is where we're getting chilled, sort of thing. That's one. I love albums. I do really like. I like good singles as well. I like a lot of pop music where it's just a good single. But yeah, I genuinely love a good album that you play from start to finish, and it just takes you on a little story like that. And I'm creating albums not because I think that I have any right to really create albums as somebody with such a small following still. There's, all the music marketing people would tell you that what I am doing is silly. But I decided to create this album because I literally just could not think of how to doing the singles thing because I think I'm the kind of artist where I think of projects in big terms. I think of an album's worth of songs that I want to go together. I can write singles, and I have written songs that stand alone as singles, but the idea of just releasing them as a single all on their own without any friends just seems so sad. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the album and think I've done a good job of it, because I know that you guys are all also album people, and I hope that when you hear it, you'll hear what I was trying to do with it as a whole project, and you'll enjoy the songs even more for hearing them in context like that. Yeah, I put a lot of store on the final track, which often defines the album. Dude, the pressure! I feel that I can't remember off the top of my head what the final track on this album is. Bear with, it's written down over there. One sec. It's literally written down over there. I'm going to go remind myself. You guys don't get to know yet because that would be a spoiler. Oh, no, wait. I've just remembered what it is. I remember what the final track... no. I'm a little bit worried now if I've picked the right track to be the final track for this album, Andy. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah, I feel like it can sometimes. Have I picked the right final track? Because I've created a final track for this album that is mostly written just to be the final track on the album. And it's not my favourite song by any means, I would say. and I don't know necessarily that it's that impactful a song. It's mostly there because I wanted something that just sort of acted like as a conclusion type song, or more less a conclusion, even more of a and just, you know, one last thing before we finish sort of thing. You know, one final note before we end this album, sort of song. So, oh, that makes me nervous now. Because we haven't spent much time on that song in the studio yet as well. So at the moment, it's not sounding very complete. And it's the one Andy's going to listen to most intently, like this decides the whole album. Yeah. It's gonna be. We'll have to have a special. Obviously, when the album comes out, we'll have a special stream where we literally just sit. It'll probably take hours to go through the whole album with how much I ramble just talking about one song. But yeah, we will have a special stream where we go through the album and putting it together and why I put certain songs where. But yeah. Anyway, just to finish off, guys. First of all, before I do anything, I'm just gonna switch the laptop on at the plug. Bear with. So it doesn't die on me. But yeah, before I finish up, anybody got anything that they want to know about the song, or, you know, maybe some little questions about the album, or, you know, just general questions about the songwriting process, anything you want to ask, any little questions we can end the stream on. Now is your opportunity to ask me things. I'd offered to give you some teasers about the album, but I mean, I feel like I teased a couple of things and sort of chatted a little bit about it there, and need to try and rein myself in so I don't just be like, well, on the album when it comes out, you'll hear this track that sounds like this, and I just spoil it all before it's even come out. 'Cause that I get overexcited. Can't help myself. Doesn't help that I've been working on it for so long at this point that I'm just really giddy, like, because I've been sitting there just chatting through all this stuff with James, that I keep forgetting as well about how, you know, just because you've been spending the past year on this, everybody else hasn't. They haven't been in the studio for the past year working on this. There is still a mystery for them. You can't just randomly start talking about such and such a track on the album that literally no one even knows exists yet. Doors is a great final track on the first album. I don't think I've ever listened to that album. I have to go and listen to it now. See what I'm competing with. I personally think that the best track of my album that's going to come out. Did you say when it's being released? The album will be out before the end of the year. Other than that, I don't have a specific. I have like a rough timetable in mind of when I would like to get the next 2 singles out and then the album out after that. But obviously, I've not got any specific dates in mind yet because we've actually not finished one of the singles quite yet. It's nearly done, but I've got the next single ready. The single after that is not quite finished yet, and then obviously the album overall needs to be all 11 minutes plus of the great, that great track. Oh, that's one of those, is it? Yeah, so I don't have a specific release date in mind yet, but it will be out before the end of the year. I promise you that. I'm going to promise you guys that it will be out before the end of the year. It shouldn't be too much longer now, hopefully. I should be getting it finished soon because we are pretty close to finishing. A lot of it is like you can't really tell, but we're probably closer to finishing than we actually are, but it doesn't feel like that because every time we open up the tracks, it feels like that. But that's because there's a lot of stuff that's been recorded that literally just needs to go through now and like edit and mix and comp and all that stuff. So, you know, once it's all put together, what we've recorded, you'll realise that actually we've done a lot. In time for Christmas, yes. Well in time for Christmas. It should be out well in time for Christmas. And obviously, I will do a CD print run for it. I don't know how many CDs to print. That'll be fun working that out. It's like, how many CDs do I make? And what type of CDs do I do? And what should the album artwork look like? Anyway, not the point. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've got 2 more. Currently, the plan is 2 more singles and then the album. We'll see if I stick to that. And I personally think that the next 2 singles coming out are 2 of my top 3 songs off the album. They're 2 of the 3 songs that I like the best in terms of musically. I love Baby Steps. Baby Steps isn't one of the 3. Baby Steps is one of my favourite songs ever that I've written and I love it. But in terms of playing it and just love of it. But there are 3 tracks on the album that are my favourites in terms of I am proud of them. And 2 of them are the next 2 singles coming out. So I'm looking forward to you guys hearing, especially the next single. I can't wait for you guys to hear the next single because it's quite different from the previous 2. Not so different that it doesn't fit on the album, obviously, but it is quite different in vibe, especially from this previous one. So it's going to be fun. Thank you for a great show, Emma. Very interesting. Oh, thank you, John. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I like doing these little sit down and chat, and I like doing it in stream format because I think that works better than me trying to do it in the video. But yeah. Anyway, I think we have reached a sort of natural conclusion to the stream, haven't we? So yeah, I will be putting the music video up on. It should be already on my channel as a premiere. You guys might have seen. So if when you're done here, do make sure to head over and find the link to the music video for How to Be Happy, which comes out on Thursday. And hit that little button to remind you that the premiere is going to happen, because they'll be premiering at 8 p.m. on Thursday. I said Thursday before, didn't I? Because I feel like all of a sudden I said Tuesday, but I feel like I said Thursday. But maybe anyway, on Thursday at 8 p.m. the music video for How to Be Happy will be premiering. And honestly, I like this song, but I love this music video. The song's all right, but the music video is one of my proudest piece of work. One of the pieces of work I think I am most proud of. That's what I'm trying to say. Shed the link. Yeah. Go, Andy. Yeah, so I will see you guys in the chat for the premiere of the music video on Thursday. And I will see you guys again same time next week on Tuesday. We will have a songwriting stream next week. We will actually have a songwriting stream next week. We don't have a special stream next week. So I will make a post asking for prompts for that. But in the meantime, I shall hope you all have a very good night and leave you to whatever plans you have for the evening. So see you on Thursday, guys. Bye!